Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Well, Kiernan from Recruitroo is helping Irish businesses to address their labour shortages by recruiting internationally. Whilst operating a manpower business in the Philippines, Shane became acutely aware of the complexities surrounding the recruitment of international staff and developed Recruitroo as a solution to address these challenges. Shane, by way of an introduction, provide us with a whistle-stop tour of your own career to date.
Good morning, Karl. Yeah, I guess my entire background has brought me to what we're building with Recruitroo because it has been a varied path to get me to where we are today. I started my career in investment banking in London. So started with Deutsche Bank doing debt capital markets origination there. I then went to work in BlackRock doing real estate investment. But I found myself with a great opportunity to work with Bill Clinton's Foundation in Africa, and that was a very much a turning point for my own career. I spent probably 2 years with the foundation working across 13, 14 different countries at that period of time, just dealing with healthcare financing for those particular countries. But I got to see an awful amount of talent. I myself had to experience an awful lot of pain with visa applications. I took a break then to go study in the US for a couple of years. And then I really started on my entrepreneurial journey. So I started a business in Nigeria, which was making tomato paste. It's a very long story, that one, that we can talk about maybe another day. Yeah. In 2015, I took a break to start a business in the Philippines, which is still going now. And that's in essence is a manpower business. So that business supplies labour and staffing solutions for agribusinesses in the Philippines.
And Shane, it was in that business in the Philippines that you witnessed the struggles which European companies faced when seeking to hire a global workforce.
Yeah, it was. So just as it happened, and of course 2020 was a remarkable year for everyone. But myself and my partner, we found ourselves back in Ireland at the end of 2020. And just a lot of people at that point who I knew in certainly in the agri-food space were crying out for people. And I guess we were just positioned well with what we knew from the Philippines to make introductions to employers in this part of the world with candidates in Southeast Asia. And that was kind of the precursor to what we were doing with Recruitroo, because what I was doing in doing that was kind of just seeing all the challenges that existed for both the candidate and for the employer in finding each other and then navigating the entire process.
And Shane, from your insights into that, what were the main barriers that companies were facing when trying to recruit globally?
Yeah, well, let me start firstly kind of with structurally where labour shortages are having an impact. It's right across many different industries. That is certainly in our space in hospitality, healthcare, in construction. There are just tight labour and staffing issues in each of those industries across ourselves, the UK and Western Europe. We're aging, we're getting greyer. We don't have that pipeline of talent that's coming through to replace those. The Eastern European pipeline that was there maybe in the late 1990s and early 2000s has mostly gone away. And we're not really seeing the investment we need in that kind of talent coming through the pipeline. And the impact that has, it's devastating. It's crippling to a lot of business. It's delaying projects. We see that in Ireland all the time, but it's not unique. In healthcare, we see it ourselves every single winter season when it comes to the unavailability of step-down care, whether it's going into nursing home settings or going into their home residential settings. The actual staff that's available for these things just isn't there. So from a company perspective, what does that mean for them? They're trying to find solutions to bring in people from outside the EU, and they're finding that it's risky. We don't know that person who you speak to on the phone or their CV if it's genuine. The process is extremely complex, whether you're hiring for a general employment permit or you're hiring for a critical skills. There's lots of little pitfalls along the way. It can be very expensive, whether it's your own company resources or whether you're using outside lawyers to assist with it. And it's long, Karl. It's really, really long. So they all kind of pose a real challenge on companies being able to access talent from abroad.
And of course, employment permits are another complicated area. I see recently that the Department of Enterprise had a public consultation on the occupations list for employment permits. Is that something that you put a submission in on behalf of clients for?
Yes, we did indeed. In fact, we represented quite a number of industries actually in assisting companies to kind of make their own declaration as it relates to the critical skills list. But just to give your the audience kind of a context as well, Department of Enterprise works basically off 3 lists. And in those 3 lists, you have an ineligible list, you have sort of a general employment list, and then you have the critical skills list. And a critical skills list are kind of like the ICT workers or certain healthcare positions. And what we found was that there was a lot of companies in industries like hospitality and construction that are crying out for people that really is part, at least from our perspective, we're just as critical to the country functioning as maybe some of those ICT roles. Like it does depend from government's perspective how they prioritise those different roles. But as you will now well know yourself, that if actually you don't have, chefs in your kitchen or you don't have people as trade workers on construction sites, your ability to actually function as an employer and as a company can be really, really impeded.
So is it true to say that the government is prioritising high-pay sectors?
Yes, I would say sense in terms of they've been maybe prioritised in the critical skills list. But just to give you an illustration, like up to the end of June, you're talking that nearly, 18,500 work permits were issued. And a third of those are going to healthcare jobs. So I think the government is doing a very good job of engaging with both kind of the industry representation and employer groups and companies like ourselves and kind of where the really need is. And that example of 18,500 work permits, if we're to go back to 2019, let's say pre-COVID, we did 16,000 work permits in the entire year. And already at 2023, we're halfway through the year, we're already at that number. So government is actually listening. It's probably just that they're not really listening to the urgency of some of the industries on how to prioritise really what should be critical positions.
So you joined forces then with tech entrepreneur Stephen McCarthy to develop a solution to address some of these challenges. So what was the original concept for Recruitroo?
Yeah, so as I told you, Karl, in my introduction, I've done many things, but one thing I am not is sort of with a technical hat on. So I'm very fortunate that Stephen McCarthy, my co-founder in Recruitroo, came from that tech background and product background. So what Stephen did, I guess, originally where we were kind of looking at what Recruitroo could become was develop initially like an interview simulation whereby a candidate was able to build a profile, and on that profile had a video skills of them doing a variety of different, let's say, jobs. In the case of someone, let's say, like a chef, they would have maybe 3 or 4 different presentations of their skills, and then also a video bio. And I, in essence, came to Stephen and with this idea of could we kind of repurpose that kind of core technology he had worked on before and make it available for a whole body of international candidates in different industries. And thankfully, Stephen had the background where he was able to very quickly go and build this first version of what Recruitroo was to become, which again is a software platform to make international hiring easy. And this other piece to that was this ability to take what is a very complex, at sometimes legal process of immigration and break it down into functions where we could bring software to kind of take out some of that complexity.
So talk to us about the service offering today for Recruitroo.
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier as well that some of the challenges that you have in international hiring is that it's risky, process is really complex, it's expensive, and it's long. So Recruitroo, again, is a software platform to make international recruitment simple. And we play a vital role in basically facilitating talent that's in the Middle East, in the Philippines, in Malaysia, in these countries, with employers in Western Europe, in Ireland, the UK. And what, in essence, it does is we can de-risk that kind of international recruitment through a lot of that video-based interviews and kind of skills challenges that employers tell us that they want candidates to do before they've even interviewed. We then, after, let's say, that candidate and employer have matched each other, we then go through the immigration piece. And we haven't totally changed what that looks like for any employer and candidate going through the process by using a software platform to simplify the entire process for everyone involved in it. And on the length piece, again, given just our experience in it, we're able to save weeks, if not months, off the time versus those traditional channels just by using software to optimize the process.
And what level of growth has Recruitroo achieved to date?
Remarkable, I guess. Starting from zero, Karl, we've gone from zero when we started the company in April of last year to just under 100 candidates now gone through the process. So it has been really rapid from where we started. But that's clear, again, on demand. When you think about that, as I said, 18,500 work permits have already been issued in the first 6 months of the year. We really still see a huge opportunity in front of us to grow the business.
And what's the revenue model underpinning the business?
Great question. Yeah, so traditionally recruitment has operated on a model where you would either have a retained recruitment agency that would do recruiting on your behalf, or other kind of a no phone, no fee type of model. So with Recruitroo, we actually are kind of doing a dual model depending on the customer's needs. And again, we're trying to do it in a way where it makes it as simple for the client company to engage with. So we offer a fixed fee, which in the case of most of, let's say, the cases we work with, is €3,500, which actually includes the €1,000 employment permit fee. So for that cost, we are able to find a candidate in wherever it is in the world that meets the requirements that the client gives us. We're able to advertise for them, assuming it's a general employment permit. We're able to bring them through both the work permit process and any visa process, and then onboard them here in the country with getting their PPS numbers and bank account set up. So that's what is, I guess, the majority of our customers go for, that sort of flat fee approach. The other model that we are just launching actually is a kind of reoccurring model that's very similar. So we get a lot of clients asking us to basically defer nearly our fee over a period of time. So depending on what the client might ask for, we're actually able to offer a monthly fee, which looks like, again, depending on what the contract is with the client, something might look like €200 to €300 a month that covers that same fee that we would have, but then also potentially any renewal of work permits in the future as well.
And Shane, generally speaking, are your clients Irish Indigenous businesses or multinationals?
Mainly Irish Indigenous.
And where are they bringing staff in from?
We are sourcing right around the globe, Karl. Mainly we will find talent, though, in places like the Middle East, which have many nationalities represented. So they could be Indians, they could be Sri Lankans, could be Filipinos, Malaysians, really whatever it is. What we want to try and do is understand what the client requirement is and match that in the best way possible for where that talent is.
And how are you sourcing the talent?
In the markets where we source people, we are engaging constantly in various social media channels, in other sourcing of CVs where we work through other agents to be able to do that. And all those sources allow us to basically find that talent that if clients are to do it themselves, they'll spend weeks of their HR's valuable time in trying to find those people that we already have.
And finally, Shane, are you positioning Recruitroo as a potential acquisition target for a large recruitment firm?
We're focused right now on trying to deliver the best value to our customers, have a great candidate experience. And again, Recruitroo is there to make international hiring simple. If we're able to do that, Karl, at scale, I'm sure people will come knocking to our doors. But right now, our focus is on just making a really great experience for clients and candidates.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Shane Kiernan from Recruitroo, and I've no doubt that the business will go from strength to strength in the coming years.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.